Abigail from Knits and Knots by AME here. We are going to make this Yayoi bucket bag today, and I'm going to show you how to make the base, how to work with specialty yarn, making the straps, and adding this drawstring. Now the Yayoi bag is super special because of the different shapes it has. So when it's fully drawed in, it creates this nice silhouette. And if we make it all the way open or pull it all the way open, it becomes a very wide tote. The bottom is also quite sturdy, which is a must-have in crocheted bags when I make them. The color that we're going to be making in this tutorial is going to be this brown yarn, and it's a combination of 24/7 cotton and Shaggy Chic. So this is mocha, and I don't know how to pronounce this, but cafe au lait. There, looks very lovely together. So let's get into the tutorial. You're going to need 3 balls of this 24/7 cotton, and I believe 2. I'll put the correct number of balls in the description below if I did get that wrong. We're also going to need a 10mm crochet hook, and that's for the body of the bag, and for the base of the bag we're going to use a 5mm crochet hook. Let's get into it. To begin, we're going to be using 2 balls of Brand Yarn's 24/7 cotton, and we'll be working with our 5mm crochet hook. So what we're going to do is get both ends, so the center pole and the outer strand of each ball. So now that we have our 4 strands together, we're going to chain 12. I think it's important to note that because this is the base and I want like a tight, sturdy bottom, I tend to do my stitches or make my stitches a little tight. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 chains, and I'm going to chain 1 more and then work 2 single crochets into the second chain from the hook. So 1, 2. Now I'm going to do a single crochet in each chain until the very end. That's going to be like 10 chain stitches. So let's just count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, careful, 9, and 10. So in this first stitch right here, or this first chain, we're going to do 4 single crochets, and it's okay if we crochet over this tail. So 1, oh, I forgot 1 strand. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is what it looks like right now. We have actually turned our work, and we're going to work down the second leg of that chain all the way until we reach that 12th stitch over here where we did those 2 single crochets. We're going to do another 2 single crochets into this last stitch. So 1, 2, and then we're going to do a slip stitch right at the top of that first stitch to end the round. Okay, so this is what round 1 looks like. So for round 2, we're going to do 2 single crochets in each of those single crochets that we put on the edge stitches. So again, chain 1 and then do 2 single crochets into the first stitch. I have to hold my hook a certain way because we are working quite tightly and it's hurting my hands. Okay, so that's 1 and 2. 2 single crochets into the second stitch. So 1, 2, and then 1 single crochet until you reach the stitches in this last stitch. Okay, so that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stitches again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we've reached the end and we're going to do, so there was 4 single crochets in here, so we're going to do 2 single crochets in each of those stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. There we go. We have rounded that end, and now we're working on these stitches over here. Again, that should be 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then here's our first stitch and our second stitch. And 10. Okay, so now we've reached the end stitches. So here's 1 and 2. So 2 single crochets in each. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that was our last stitch. We're gonna do a slip stitch on the top into that top of that first stitch right there to end the round. Okay, and so this is how round 2 looks like. Alright, off to round 3, and I just wanted to show you guys the pattern moving onwards. So we could see that these stitches over here is where we have 2 stitches in one. Okay, so that is always going to be where we align our increases. So for round 3, we're going to do a single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase. And that is going to show us, so if we do a single crochet here, an increase in this next one, it's directly in line with where we did the increase in round 2. So single crochet and then increase. So for each row or each round, there will always be 4 increases on either side. Okay, so I'm going to work this 3rd row with you guys. So start off with that chain 1. So we're going to do a single crochet and then 2 single crochets into that increase stitch. Again, single crochet and then 2 single crochets into that increase stitch. Okay, so on the opposite side, we want to remember that the increase stitch is always going to be the 2nd stitch in that spot. Okay, or else it's going, your piece is going to start leaning. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 single crochets, and then we're going to do our increase. So 1, 11, and then increase. So that's our 1 increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet. Okay, straighten that out a little bit. Increase, and then single crochet, increase. So there we have our 4 increases on that side. Making our way back, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then increase, single crochet, increase. Row 4 is just like row 3. The only difference is we are now going to do a single crochet 2 times, so single crochet, and then increase. And as you can see, that increase falls in line with where the increase stitches are going to be. So I'll work that 4th row with you. Okay, chain 1, single crochet, single crochet, and then 2 single crochets in that increase stitch. One more time, single crochet, and 2 single crochets into that increase stitch. So I'm going to show you guys. You could see that round 1, 2, 3, and 4, the increase stitches are all aligning. Alright, so now we're going to work single crochets on this end until we reach our increase stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So now we're going to do 12, and then this is our first increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, and then another 12 until we do our increases over here. Okay, so here we are at the end of round 4. I've already ended the round and secured it with a slip stitch, and we're ready to move on to 4, 5, 6, or 5, 6, 7, and onwards. Okay, one thing that you should keep in mind as your rows succeed, there's going to be an extra single crochet added on in between these increased stitches, and then an extra stitch on these flat sides. So for example, round 5 is going to have 3 single crochets between the increased stitches, and then 13 stitches on this side before we start increasing again. And then round 6 is going to be 4 stitches between the increases, and then 14 stitches until we start rounding that corner. So keep that in mind. So we're going to keep increasing for another 3 rounds, ending with 5 single crochets in between the increased stitches, and I will see you guys there. Okay, so here we are. This is basically the end of the base. So we have so we have that initial row. So one round, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rounds, ending with 5 single crochets between increases, 15 along this straight sides. Okay, so let me show you the original piece. So this is basically, oh, can we see it? Let's zoom out. In the original piece, this is basically where we have just ended. So it's just like that. We are now going to make a row, but it's technically not a part of the base. It's just for support, because it's going to create like this layer that the bag can sit on, almost like piping. So we're going to be working this into the back front loops only. Okay, so what we're going to do is chain 1 and working on the front loops only. So this is your front loop and this is your back loop. We're going to continue with increases. We're going to do 6 single crochets and then an increase, only working in the front loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we are here. We're here at the increase row. We're going to do our increase, or increase stitch. We're going to do our increase, so 2 double crochets into that front loop of that stitch. Crochet another 6 single crochets and then do our increase, continuing around the base until we reach here, always remembering to only be working into that front loop. Okay, so I finished that round, and as you can see, when I flip it over, since we worked in the front loops only on that round, you'll see that the back loops are still exposed. What we're going to do now is bring this loop forward. So to do that, we're going to insert. This first stitch is kind of difficult. We're going to insert our hook, pull this a little wider, and bring it all the way to that, all the way through like that. Okay, there we go. So now we are ready. I'm going to chain 1. So do a single crochet starting in that stitch that we brought the yarn through. So that's one. Okay. And then one single crochet in each stitch all around. Okay. So I'll meet you guys here at the end. Okay, so here we are. We made it all the way to the end, and now, so this is that first stitch that we made. We're going to do a slip stitch to the top of that stitch to end the round. Okay, so you could see here that we've created like a base, and now we're working up. Alrighty, so now that we're done with this single crochet row, we are just about done with the base of the bag, and this is how it looks like at the moment. We're now going to set up some spaces for the larger hook and the super bulky Shaggy Chic yarn to go through, and we're going to do that by starting with a chain 2, skipping the first stitch, and single crocheting into the next stitch. Okay, we're going to go all around this base with a chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet. So what's happening here is we're making larger spaces for that bigger hook, the 10mm hook, and the yarn to pass through. By the time we are at the end, we should have 38 spaces. So, okay, so we've made it to the end. I have 38 spaces all around the base of the bag. I'm going to go into this first space and do a slip stitch to secure the row. Okay, chain 1, because I'm going to cut it off. There we go. So this is what your base should look like right now, or we're going to start doing our rounds with the Shaggy Chic yarn. So I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video that it is really useful to have some stitch markers. My stitch markers are from Coco Knits. I've used these for years. As you can see, I am missing quite a few already, but I love how I could use them both for knitting and crochet. And then you're going to want to count your rows. I use this row counter by Susan Bates. It's a stitch or row counter, and it fits on my finger like a ring. And then we're going to be using our 10mm crochet hook. The reason why you need these two things right here is because when working with specialty yarn, you can't really see your stitches. It's all being felt through your hands to locate the different stitches. So you can't see the stitches. We're going to be needing this to mark the beginning of our rows, and we're going to be needing a row counter to keep track of our rows. This doesn't use a lot of rows, so you could get away with just tallying on a piece of paper too. Okay, so we're going to start by attaching our yarn. I'm just going to poke through that first space, pull up my yarn, and make a tie. I'll tie it to this as well, just for extra security. And there we go. Our yarn is attached, and now we're going to start working. I'm going to pull up the yarn. I'm going to make a chain 1 just for the height, and then single crochet into that same stitch. And feel for the top of that stitch poke my hand through, and that's okay, or my finger through. Then I'm going to add a stitch marker so I know where to slip stitch to end the round. Okay, so that's our first stitch. We're going to go into that next space and do another single crochet. Go into the next stitch, single crochet, and I am crocheting quite loosely because I don't want the stitches to be too tight, and I want just the yarn, the personality of the yarn or the characteristics of the yarn to be nice and fluffy. So just a loose single crochet would do. So we're going to do a single crochet all around, and I'll see you at the end of the round when we reach here. Okay, so we made it to the end of the round. I have 38 single crochets. So now I'm going to go to that stitch marker, feel for that top of the stitch, do my slip stitch, and that ends our round. Going to count one row, take the stitch marker off, and very carefully with these two fingers, or whatever you're comfortable with, I'm going to just make sure that I keep track of where that stitch is, chain one, and do a single crochet into the first stitch. I'm going to feel up into that single crochet that we just did and place my stitch marker. That's the beginning of the row. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have these fingers just at the base of the rows and feel where the next stitch would be. Okay, there it is. And there it is. So that is essentially how you're going to feel for your stitches all around. And as you can see, you really can't see your stitches, but because this is a bulky yarn, you could actually feel it. It's not hard to feel. So don't be scared, don't feel intimidated, and it might look very rough and chaotic at first because of the characteristics of this yarn, but once you work up to a certain point, it just actually looks really nice and really chic. And then we're going to shave off some of the halo parts of the yarn so that it looks nice and neat. Okay, but that is essentially how you do the rounds using the Shaggy Chic yarn. So you're going to do however many yarns the pattern calls for, and I'll see you at the top. Okay, so here we are, ready to end or to secure the end of the last round for the Shaggy Chic part. What I'm going to do now is begin to do my slip stitch, but instead of pulling through this Shaggy Chic yarn, I'm going to reattach our 24/7 cotton. This is still the 4 strands together, and I'm going to slip stitch that, tie these together to secure it. Make sure we don't lose that. Okay, so nice and snug. There we go. now that we have reattached our secondary yarn, I'm going to go back to my 5mm crochet hook, and we're going to start doing the top of our bag. So we're going to start with a chain 1, and for every Shaggy Chic stitch we're going to do 2 single crochets. So 1, 2, feel for the next stitch and do 2 single crochets. I am crocheting over the tails that we tied off just to clean it up a little bit. So feel for the next stitch and do 2 single crochets in that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do 2 single crochets in every stitch until the very end, and then I'm going to slip stitch to end the round, chain 1, and do a second row of single crochets all around, and that's going to end the bag piece. Okay, so here we go. We've finished the 2 rows, and that is basically it for our body, for the body of the bag. And all that's left is to do the drawstring, the straps. You could either do the smaller straps or the larger straps. It depends on how you want to wear it, or you can be like like mine and just do both. Okay, so now that we have our bag done, now it's time to make the straps, and the straps are very easy. So you're going to just do 2 rows of single crochets for the long and short straps. You can see I just used 2 strands of the yarn. So for the base of the bag we used 4 strands. For the straps we're just using 2 strands. This does look short. This is the crossbody strap, the long strap. It does look short, but remember, when you attach it to the bag and you have the weight of the bag, this is going to stretch. So we like to keep it nice and tight, and a little shorter to begin with. Now you're also going to want to make 2 short straps, and these are going to be on both sides of the bag, the front and the back, to create those handles. So that's for the straps. Now for the drawstring, it's actually not one big drawstring. I've actually designed it making 2 strings so that the back doesn't have any sort of extra noise with the string. So these are chain stitches, and then I left a long tail on each so that we could attach it to the back of the bag. And an optional thing that you might want to make is this, it's a rectangular block, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to make it I'm going to sew it together and then also like attach the center, because essentially I want it to look like this. It's just optional. You could always just tie it like I did with the black bag, but I think this gives a nice finished look. So once that's seamed together and then closed, this part I'm going to knot off so that there's a little bump, and then it's just easier to glide and secure to close and open our drawstring bag. Almost forgot to mention, for the straps we're using a 3mm crochet hook, and if you choose to make this, it's only 1 string and you use a 2.1mm crochet hook. The way that this bag is made, we locate the edges or the ends, so make sure that you lay it down flat, lay it down nice and flat on your table so that you could see both ends. Let's just lift the camera a little bit so you could see that everything's nice and equal and that you could see both of these ends. Now for the bag, we're going to locate the ends. So one right here, one right here, and then the center. So if we put those two together, then we could see the center stitches. Okay, and there you go. So we're going to put the bag back that way and then pinch the side so that it aligns with the center, so that it looks just like that. I'm going to do that on the other side. So essentially it's going to look like this. What we're going to do now is get our first drawstring, go to the back, and we're going to locate the middle of this part and the middle of this part right here. I'm just going to say that the middle is over here. Double check. That looks just about right. Now I'm going to attach my drawstring. Going to locate the center, which seems about here. Right now, I'm gonna just weave it through, like between the first and second row, maybe two stitches from that center, just like that. And then come out around the center of here. Okay, so there you go. That's your first drawstring. Grab this, count around 2 stitches from that center, and pull it through. Locate that center, I'd say around here, and there. Alright, so I'm going to take this off. I'm going to leave those there, but now you can see that our drawstring is properly installed. When we open it, it looks like that, and then we close it just like that. I would like to add this on right now before we add on the straps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to go ahead and close one side, or close the sides together. I'm just going to use a whip stitch. That's nicely seamed. I'm just going to... Now we're ready to attach our short straps. We have that extra string on each side or each end to help attach it. The way we want to attach these straps is with the bag already closed. This is because we want to create some balance, right? So if we open the bag, then these are kind of the middle and it doesn't really look nice. So with the bag closed, we're going to attach our yarn to the needle. I think this is a really good spot to place it. So I'm just going to make sure this goes around and it's not twisted. And I'm going to attach it around the same distance from the edge as the one I did over here. Okay, so just secure this. Now 1, 2, 3, and this is where I'm going to want to attach it. Okay, so here we have our straps on, and we're ready to attach our long strap. Just open the bag all the way. Beautiful, look at these short straps. Okay, so we're opening the bag all the way, locating, making sure that it's nice and symmetrical. We're going to locate the sides and then get our long strap and then attach it like so. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Remember, we're attaching to the top row of the body of the bag. I'm going to do that and then I'll see you guys then. Okay, so now I've attached our long strap. I'm just going to tuck our short straps in so that we could pay more attention to these long straps. But you can see when you opt to tuck in a strap, it's barely visible. So you could pay more, you can give more attention to the strap that you want to showcase. Here we go. That's the long strap. And closed, it looks like this. Okay. There we go. Now for the final step of this bag, I'm going to just tuck the long strap in. Cinch it. Then I like to sit it up like this. Grab a pair of scissors. Grab the bag and hold it with the short straps and just go over the bag like this. If everything looks okay, then that's perfect. But say if I find some just parts that are a little unruly, I might want to just cut it off, give it a little shave, a little haircut, so that the bag looks nice and uniform. Be very careful when cutting because you don't want to cut the actual stitch. So yeah, that's how I get a nice clean finish, especially with this yarn. This bag was so much fun to make and whipped up really fast. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you for watching and I will see you guys again next time.